Welcome, and thanks for joining us for episode 6 of season 2 of Code Girls on Air, a podcast exploring all things technology, female leadership, careers, education, and topics within the nonprofit sector. In this episode of Code Girls on Air, we interviewed Kisa Davison, a business owner of Iron Star Construction and SBG. Join us to hear more about her story. So welcome to Code Girls on Air. Go ahead and introduce yourself as well as what you do.
My name is Kisa Davison, and I run a construction company, Iron Star Construction. I also am co-owner with my husband of Straight Blast Gym in Montana. So we have gyms in Kalispell, Whitefish, Missoula, and Bozeman. We have partners at all those locations as well, but we are the original founders of the Montana-based organization. Straight Blast Gym is part of an international organization, and so there's 100 plus gyms worldwide. So, but our Montana crew is headed by myself and my husband.
Very cool. So, yeah, you own both a construction company and a martial arts gym. Those things seem completely different worlds. What's it like running two businesses that are so opposite in feel and focus?
So I would say they're not opposite in feel, actually, and they're not even really opposite in focus. We are building communities. So whether we build communities, sticks and bricks in homes and neighborhoods, or we build communities in our tribe on the mat, it's still building communities. And really that's the kind of theme that ties together everything that I do in my life.
Yeah, for sure. So do you find that, you kind of talked about this, do you find that your skills in one business ever surprise you by showing up in the other? Like, does being a black belt help you lead a construction crew?
For sure. Can you imagine sitting down at a weekly staff meeting and having me stand at the front and say, listen, folks, this week we're doing this. Are there any questions? I'm just kidding. That's not really how it goes at all. Martial arts skills are really transcendent. Like it doesn't matter. A good martial arts training, we like to say, goes beyond just this zip code. So you can use it in every part of your life. Those skills in patience and perseverance and resilience, not just for the moments that you're on the mat, but, I started training when I was 35. So already into motherhood, already into running a business, already into being an adult and paying bills. And to show up as a white belt means that I have to be brand new. I have to open my mind, open my ears. I have to be prepared to learn. And that in itself is a skill set that is beyond any business and really all relationships and all things that I would venture to do.
For sure. And I think it's kind of a running theme on the podcast as of recently, having that mentality of being a lifelong learner, always learning new things and adapting, which is super, super important, obviously.
Yeah. My husband and I developed a kids curriculum, Growing Gorillas, as part of the gym that has both martial arts skills, just basic skills in martial arts for our kids program, but also a life skills component so that every month there's a new life skill like perseverance, like honesty, and fill in the blank. All the things that you want children to grow up and understand are important. And so that, I think, speaks volumes for just how everything we do within the walls of SBG can be applied in anything and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So what led you to start Iron Star Construction, and what is your heart behind the kind of projects that you guys take on?
So my husband and I, Travis is his name, we started he was in construction right about the time that we met and got married. He was working for his dad in construction. He actually has his undergraduate degree in biology and was set to go to veterinarian school and then decided that he loves animals too much. He just couldn't handle the hard parts of that. And so then was just going to go into get his PhD and be in academia. I, with my undergraduate degree in French, decided that I wanted to go into the Foreign Service. And then I met Travis and fell in love, and we got married and had babies. We then figured out that, okay, well, what's important to us? We felt like we had to set that to the side and just do what made money, do what needed to pay the bills, right? Especially when you start having children and kids are expensive. So we he was working for his dad, and we decided to break off and start a custom home construction company. I love process. I love a place for everything in its place.
Yes.
I'm a Montessori girl at heart. And running a business, regardless of if it's a cookie company or a construction company, the processes are basically the same. You have to create a product, you have to mass produce it, and you have to sell it, and you have to service it.
Yes.
And so that kept me really engaged in owning a business. Well, there's a lot of other things that happened between then and now. But long story short, we moved here in 2007. The market fell apart. We closed up the construction company, actually prior to that, and we're involved in a different one when we were here. And then decided to open the gym. After a few years of running the gym, I still had a heart for construction. I wanted to get back into building. And it's so fun to go and see an empty piece of property, whether it's a lot or a big piece of land, and to imagine who's going to live in a home that will soon be built on that property. That's
For sure, yeah.
I'm a writer. That's my hobby, is writing stories. And so it's really fun to make up those stories going into a project of, okay, who's going to live here? What are they going to do? What are they going to say? How are they going to, where are they going to put their coffee maker?
Yeah.
Where are they going to put their Christmas tree? What pictures can I envision on these walls? So that was something I really had a hard time letting go of. My husband, on the other hand, had zero desire to be back in construction. Fortunately, his dad and mom moved to town into their retirement, and his dad wasn't quite ready to retire. But having, come to the Valley with 50 years of experience, he and I decided to start with just a couple of houses, and then a couple turned into a few more, and a few more turned into now 20 to 30 a year with a nice staff and
awesome,
lots of beautiful homes. So I honestly don't remember what the original question was.
Yeah, just what inspired you to start it. So,
people
sure.
and the stories that they live. That's what inspires me.
I love that. So, and we kind of touched on it again, but SBG Montana, what drew you into martial arts in the first place? And what made you want to build something for kids?
Well, this is funny because when we opened the gym, so this was December of 2008, we had basically 4 kids in our kids program. And Ted, Stella, Ricky, Joe, Davison, my 4 kids.
Yes.
And my husband, I wasn't training martial arts at the time. I was a yoga teacher, longtime yoga practitioner. And so we had a yoga studio in the back of the gym. So it was SBG and the yoga room. And my husband...
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah. My husband said, so you're going to be my assistant in kids class. I ordered you a gi. And I was like, I don't know the first thing about jiu-jitsu except that it looks really hard.
Yeah.
And he didn't really want to hear my excuses. So I put a gi on and started assisting him. And I realized it was a lot of fun. And then I decided that if I was going to hang out and watch my kids learn something, I wanted to know what it was like to experience what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
So I started training. Those were back in the days before we had an introductory program, before we had foundations classes, before we had women's classes. And it was just me and a bunch of like sweaty 20 and 30-year-old men. And it was awful. And then Leah Taylor, who moved to town, she had some background in training and had moved here from Alaska. She was in the Forest Service at the time. She started training. So finally I had another female on the mats. She has done a phenomenal job of not only training, but now coaching and competing in jiu-jitsu all over the world. And that's when I started to see, this isn't just for 20-year-old sweaty dudes. This could be something that's really helpful for not just me as a woman, but also my daughter.
Yeah.
And my sons. And just like with anything, you're in that experience, you're like, wow, I've connected so much with this practice. I want to share it with everyone. And that's what led us to put together the Growing Gorillas program. That, and remember, I'm a place for everything, everything in its place kind of a girl. So I needed a system. I needed a curriculum.
Yeah, for sure. So you helped create that Growing Gorillas program.
That's right.
A martial arts program for kids that now used
Whoa. Okay. A martial arts program for kids that's now used across the world. What's the heart behind it? And what kind of transformation do you see in kids who go through it?
So the curriculum itself was really simple for us to put together because our oldest son, Ted, who's 25 now, when he was 6 months old, he started having seizures. And he has a really severe seizure disorder that's actually caused by something called cortical dysplasia. So most of the right side of his brain didn't form properly in utero, and it's dysplastic. Okay, so it just doesn't conduct electricity appropriately.
Yeah.
Ted wasn't supposed to walk or talk, let alone do jujitsu, let alone graduate from high school, let alone be the sports statistician that he is and jujitsu blue belt now. But all that was made possible by a team of incredible therapists that he had starting at 6 months old. And what I learned as Ted's mom from occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, those were all the fundamental building blocks of our program. So this is how kids learn. This is the stages of growth that they experience. This is what we do when they have sensory issues. So, a lot of sensory issues, you need to feel, in Ted's case, he needs to understand where the earth is because the sensory integration isn't what most of us deal with. And so he didn't just walk, he stomped, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't just run. He has to like bear crawl and cartwheel when he was 4 and 5 years old. That was really fun, going through the grocery store with a 4-year-old who cartwheels. And then at one point he broke his arm. And so then he was still doing cartwheels with a cast on.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, mother of the year here. So the program itself, we didn't invent anything. We just took what we knew was true and what we saw work in the growing and raising of our children and kind of sprinkled it with some martial arts, with some jujitsu and life skills, and voila. It's
For sure. And what life skills does it teach that you think every kid needs?
First of all, I think that's a good question because they're all really important. The most important skill I think it teaches is how to learn and how to be with yourself in that process and experience of learning. So whether kids show up, at 5 years old and they just need to understand what it means to sit in a circle or follow directions or, touch hands before a match, they'll touch hands with their partner or fist bump, connection, community. Even what we do for other people and with other people, it still has to come from a place of understanding who we are.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So whether you're on the mat or on a job site, leadership really matters. What kind of leader do you try to be, and how do you build trust with your teams?
I try to be a leader that listens. And that's can be tricky if I'm over caffeinated, right? And my brain's moving too quickly, or if I think things are a certain way and I've decided in my mind that that's how it will be.
Yeah.
I can feel myself shutting down my listening. So I try to be a leader that listens, try to be a leader that seeks to understand. So if you're upset about something or excited about something, I want to know, where's that coming from? Why are you upset about this? Or why are you excited about this? I try to be a leader that's kind. I think kindness trumps everything.
For sure, yeah. And I think that it goes back to these are the skills that you teach in growing gorillas.
Yep.
And that's that fundamental, you need to be kind to others and you need to listen. And I'm a firm believer that the leader is only as good as their team is. And if you're a leader and you're not being receptive to your team in that way, then ultimately that entire system is just going to crumble. It's not going to, it's not going to work. And whether that be an instant sort of thing or whether that be like on down the line, it's going to happen eventually.
Yep, absolutely.
So you've talked about community and integrity being central to your work. Why are those values important to you, especially as a business owner?
Well, contrary to, I think, what people tend to believe, I believe that business is a really essential part of how our communities work. In business, we are designed, or we should be designed, we should design ourselves to serve. Now, there's a transaction in that service, right? I do something for you, or I give you something, and you're going to, the exchange is money, typically. It's so easy when we don't understand, it's so easy to paint the other as an enemy or as someone who's looking to get something from you. That's not the case. Not all the time. I guess there are some really bad people out there, or people who do bad things. Maybe not bad people. Yeah. People do bad things. So being very vocal about what our jobs are.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to help you live better. Live better is the slang, or not slang, but the motto for Iron Star Construction. And we're not helping you live better by just giving you, everything you want for nothing. Yeah. We're helping you live better by building you a home that you're going to grow your family in, or retire in, or just enjoy your life, grow into yourself in. And in exchange for that, you're giving us something that is valuable to you. Yeah. And it's not the money that's valuable, it's the time and the effort that it took to make that money, right? So, and I think that's a really important connection to understand, is that money isn't everything, time is everything.
Yeah.
And how much time we decide to invest in something speaks volumes for how valuable that is to us. I could riff on that for days. That's a big topic, but I want our customers to understand how important community is to us, and I think that they experience that and see that in not only what we do but how we do it.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So I think on that topic, it's that community is super duper important, and debatably, again, in any team, in any community, in any town, or anywhere you are, that community, that people-to-people connection is the most important thing.
Yep.
So whether you're, in tech, whether you're in construction, anything, that soft skill will carry with you. Yep. In all of those.
We have what I call the 4 Ps, right? There's the key to any successful business, 4 Ps. Product, you have to have a good product. Process, you have to have really good process. To get that product. It has to be efficient. It has to be clean. It has to be fulfilling too. Yeah. People, and not just the people on your team, but the people you're doing business with. And then the last one is profit. Yeah. You have to have all 4 of those things in order to have a successful business.
Yeah, for sure. You're a writer, a history lover, a yoga student, and a reader. How do those quiet, reflective passions feed into your bold and high energy work life?
I can't be bold and energetic if I don't have that quiet time. Every morning starts in prayer in my chair, prayer and study. And that typically leads me to whatever's next.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more prayer and study. Sometimes it's doing laundry, which is what I tried to do this morning. Sometimes it's a walk. Sometimes it's coffee with my husband. Yeah. So but if I don't start with that quiet, reflective time, just communing with God, then anything that happens after that that's on my schedule, and my priorities don't tend to work out as well as his priorities do.
For sure. Yeah. So how has practicing martial arts, especially something as challenging as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, shaped your mindset in work, family, and life?
Interesting. So we just got back from Texas. We every year hold a SBG ladies camp. And this one was in New Braunfels, Texas. And I got to hang out on the mat with 40 of my best mat buddies. To look out on that mat and see the 10, 11, 12-year-old girls who've just started their journey, to my daughter, who's 23 and 7 months pregnant. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's a black belt in judo. She's a phenomenal coach. She's, literally growing the 3rd generation on the mats.
Yeah.
And then to one of my good friends, Lily. She started judo when she was 40, got her black belt, then started jiu-jitsu at 50, got her black belt at 60, and now I don't even know how old she is. you see kind of the whole range of life.
Yeah.
And just like we were talking before, you know, life is so short and yet it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And you can shift gears. But for all these women to see that this sport, this activity, and this community can be theirs throughout every stage.
For sure, yeah.
And that they all have these mentors and examples of how the training might wax and wane depending on the stage of life you're in. But that the mat's always there for you and the tribe is always there for you. That is the most special aspect of what we do.
For sure, yeah. And going back to that idea that, again, life is short. Like when you look back on things like, wow, like time flew. But at the same time, you can always switch gears. Life is long enough to do anything you want, basically.
You can literally wake up tomorrow and decide, you know what? I think I'm going to go be a surfer.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I think I'm going to go travel Europe. Or I think I'm going to go to medical school or be a welder, or I'd love to learn how to do this. Or, you know, today I'm just going to sit and listen.
For sure, yeah. And I think, again, that goes back to the lifelong learner idea, where we're constantly learning, we're constantly adapting.
Constantly.
Another thing we've talked about is that if you're ever stagnant and you're not adapting, you're going backward. There's no true stop. You're always pushing through as time goes on through your life.
Yep.
And if you're not going anywhere. You're going backward.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So you're a mom, a Mimi, a mentor. How do you keep up with your kids, your grandkids, and also remember why you showed up?
Well, I show up for my kids and grandkids and for my husband and for all the people in my life, which means I have to show up for myself first.
Yes.
So it took me a long time to figure that out. I spent too many years showing up for everyone else and not myself. And then that just grew a lot of resentment. It grew a lot of just ickiness.
Yeah.
There's a technical term for you. And now that I've unwound all that, I can see how important it is to show up for myself first.
Yeah.
Which, again, starts with sitting in the chair every morning and in prayer and study. It's easy to do things you love doing.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to keep up with my family and my kids and my grandkids and my friends because I love them.
Yes.
The things that I don't love in life, or the people who maybe give me that icky feeling, when I'm showing up for myself and spending time in my chair in the mornings, it's really easy to not give any real estate in my head or my heart to those people and those practices.
Yeah, for sure. So what advice would you give to a girl who wants to try something tough or totally unexpected, but feels nervous to begin?
Well, I would say a few years ago, so we used to have a Growing Gorillas podcast. And a few years ago, my husband and I interviewed on the podcast our pastor, Levi Lesko, and his wife, Jenny, as parents and, faith leaders. And Levi said at the end, he said, begin with the end in mind. And he was quoting someone else who's probably way smarter than Levi and significantly smarter than me. So I don't know who to attribute that to, but beginning with anything hard with the end in mind, visualizing like, you know why you want to start something, like understanding what that whisper is in your heart. Like, where is this coming from? What is it that I really want to get out of this hard practice? And then constantly, like, you are going to, if it's a journey that involves only mountain peaks,
for sure,
that feels really boring and like you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
Right. We learn the most when we're in those valleys. So knowing I'm going to start something hard, I'm starting it for a reason because I have a dream in my heart, and this is where that dream comes from, and this is what it's going to look like, not just when I get there, but as I go.
Yeah.
And constantly reminding yourself of that. Then you've got to have friends on this road trip.
Yes.
So, it's nice to like go to the grocery store by myself, but if I'm going to take a road trip, I'm taking my best friends, a good playlist, and car snacks.
For sure, yeah. I go to Stillwater Christian. So one of our athletic pillars is that we run the race. We run the race to win.
Yes.
And that's kind of with that ideal in mind. It's not that it's not because we're being nice we let anyone else. It's that we have that end in mind and we know what we want.
Yep.
And that we're going to push and do that.
Yep.
That means, again, still being kind to those around us, all of that.
Absolutely.
But again, having that end in mind and knowing your goal is super, super important.
Yes.
So now that you've done all of these things with your career, what's one more thing that's still on your radar?
Well, for sure, I still want to finish the stories that I'm writing.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be cool to be published?
That is so cool.
Right? I really want to do that. But my current challenge is that I'm running for mayor of Kalispell.
Very cool.
Yeah, kind of random and I would say out of left field. And yet it feels like this is what I've been prepared.
Yeah.
God's been preparing me for this for a very, very long time. So it's terrifying to be on a campaign. I have to be like sitting in this hot seat all the time, talking to people all the time, answering hard questions and easy questions. And, to be on the soapbox and on the platform and to be very centered in who I am, why I'm here, and what I'm doing, and to not both be taken out or taken down by negative comments, and at the same time to not be pumped up by positive comments, right? To really be clear about what my center is. Again, it could not be more perfect for this stage in life.
For sure. And I think, again, having that mission that's central to you and central to all the things that you do, that is important. And that is ultimately what will drive you to do
100%
anything else.
Building community, it's what ties together all the work that I've done, all my efforts in life. So here we go.
Yeah, that is super, super exciting. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here on Code Girls on Air. I'm sure your conversation and all this advice that you've given is super, super beneficial for anyone who's looking to do something unexpected with their career, or they're just wanting to get something started that people might not expect from them. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I hope so. I hope it is helpful.
Yes, I'm sure it will be.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 6 of season 2 of Code Girls on Air. Next time, we'll be talking to Suzanne Collins, an executive and career development coach. Tune in next time to hear more about her story. Thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your week.